Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 307. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Snitsky. Hello.
Hi, that's me.
Sorry, it has been an awful long time.
You were sick. I was sick. We were both
Well,
sick.
and the holidays in the middle too.
Yep.
I don't think that was actually going to get in the way of our recording.
No,
but
we were going to be right after the holidays, and then we both got sick last weekend. And
Man.
your voice is coming back. Mine luckily came back. Mine was more brain fog.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know which I prefer.
yeah. I will take. I kind of like mine because mine was it was solely. I just couldn't work.
Sure.
And it's
Well, okay, I mean-
that was the thing is yeah, I was sick, but the main problem was the fact that I couldn't keep a coherent thought.
Sure.
So that was the main issue. But yeah, we are back. I have purchased several very old computers in the last 48 hours.
You have. In fact, we've discussed that
Yes.
at length before the
I
episode.
purchased a DataView 25, which has a infrared wireless keyboard, which is an extremely cool lunchbox style luggable.
And I'm sure that works fantastically.
I mean, currently the PCB is made out of alkaline corrosion,
Perfect.
but we will find out if I can fix it.
I don't know if that's better or worse than electrolytic juice. It's probably better.
That's a good question. I'll ask Darren.
I'm just trying to go for the glass half full on
Yeah,
the PCB. so.
the good thing is I also got a Toshiba T3100, and the Toshiba, both of these have 1200 megabit per second modems.
Oh, yeah.
So there's actually a video on YouTube of a guy taking a T3100, a later model, with more RAM and going on Twitter with it.
Does that website still have a text-only load option? They must.
There is actually, yes. That so most websites do, because when you actually look at a website, when it loads, it'll load the HTML website, which is the basic website, and then it will load the CSS style sheet,
Yep.
and then after that, there's the SQL loading. And depending on how it's coded, most websites will still have a fallback of being just HTML CSS. But it will not have all the pretty bits, and it'll be partially functional. But Twitter, for sure, you can at least make a tweet on.
Oh my god.
You can also go on Wikipedia. Which
That
is
one I could see.
actually extremely useful because I spend a lot of time on Wikipedia. You can genuinely have an entire trip along the internet just on Wikipedia.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh my god, that's like YouTube tangents before YouTube.
And then today, I got the world's greatest deal on a Commodore 64. I
Yeah.
got the actual computer.
Oh, Ryan, but that's just the keyboard.
Yeah, it's the whole computer. It's all in the back. And then I got 2 monitors and 40 pounds of games and software for it. Oh, and a 5.5 inch or whatever floppy drive.
5.25, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. The big ass floppy drive. So I'm very excited for all that.
Which I'm sure is very low density because yeah.
Yes.
Well, why not?
Well, what's really cool about Commodores is everything is kind of modular for them, so you can just keep adding peripherals on them, and there's modems and stuff, and so you can actually play. There were online video games for Commodore 64s.
Even in period.
Yes, in period.
Oh,
There were
jeez.
multi-user dungeons and stuff that you could play online on ARPANET and stuff like that.
Oh my god, I haven't heard of ARPANET in
Yeah,
so long.
so I'm very excited because there's still enough of a community here that there are online games that have lobbies and players for C64.
I have to imagine there's I know very little about the Commodore 64, but I do know that it has an immensely huge modding community.
Yes,
I have to mention there's a bunch of new titles now too.
Yes, there are, and also there's compilers for BASIC and I think C, and so you can do a lot of modern things on a C64, and I'm very excited for that because you can also replace everything. So anything that's broken on this, I can just find a new one of, and that's extremely cool for an old computer.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Two
for
thumbs
that.
way up.
Two thumbs way up. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing with my life lately.
Fair enough. I ran down to Florida just because I had it in the calendar forever.
Okay.
And beach
How's
bars
that?
are fantastic,
That's
but
good.
that place is just a cesspool. That's where I got sick.
Where in Florida are you?
Southwest, so Naples.
Oh, Naples? Okay, because Jana's dad has a condo in Fort Myers.
Oh, that's very close.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's 40 minutes.
I don't. Going to Florida is just bad. If I could do fly into Miami and then just not leave the Miami area,
Yeah, you
I
could-
think I'd probably be okay.
Or even Fort Lauderdale.
I'm kind of like, yeah, I guess. Something like that.
The town is a little bit more condensed, which is what I actually appreciated about Fort Lauderdale. Is like it's not a walkable city. Don't get me wrong.
No, nowhere in Florida is walkable.
But it's really close.
There's actually a YouTuber called City Nerd that I absolutely adore. And
I've watched his videos.
Have you watched the one about how cursed like every city in Florida is?
Nope, I have not.
When he does like least walkable cities, he has a least walkable cities, and then he goes least walkable cities excluding Florida, and then it's a completely different list because Florida takes up like 9 of the 10 spots of the least walkable metro areas.
I mean, the state is like 5 hours of interstate speed driving tall, so
Yeah.
not super surprising to me that it would have terrible walkability.
Yeah, also, it's a red state that's designed for retirees. Like, yeah, it was entirely built in like the 60s and 70s. Like, it is entirely a not walkable area.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, there's no like old architecture there.
No, like, I mean, they like South Beach. You have like Art Deco stuff,
Yeah.
but like that's about it.
Well, I'm sure there are some 1890s colonial things sitting on the beaches there, but it's
not
few and far
It's
between.
not like here where it's like you throw a rock and you get a house that was made in the 1900s.
Right.
So
No, this woodwork is so nice. Well,
Yeah.
that's because it's original.
exactly. So, yeah, I've had a very good time doing weird old computer things, so that's good. Somebody stole my mail this morning, so that sucks.
What?
Yes, that's a thing. Mail theft, apparently.
Well, I know it is because the dude that stole my E46 stole a ton of mail, and I just brought it to the post office. I'm like, a lot of this is even opened, but
So, yeah, it's luckily like there was just coupons that were in there, so that's good.
wow, they're really gonna get away with those.
I'm afraid. I really hope that Progressive didn't decide that today was the day that they were going to send me my check for $10,000 I owe to my contractor, because I've been fighting with them since August
I
to
heard
send
about
that to
the
me.
start of that.
Yes,
so.
it's still occurring.
Oh my god.
Fucking hate Progressive Home Site. Do not go with them for your home insurance. They're fine for cars, but home insurance is literally a different company.
And even their car insurance stuff, like, yeah, I tell everyone because they ask who I use for insurance regularly. I'm like, I use Safeco, but I recommend you buy the cheapest possible insurance you can find.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're
It's all the
getting the
same.
exact same coverage,
The
and
only-
as long as you're fine fighting them, if
Yep.
anything happens, then you're fine.
Yeah, the only one I'm not a fan of at all is State Farm.
I've had
Or-
negative experiences with a lot.
State Farm is. That's the only one I'll never ever go back
Their
to.
rates are terrible.
Well, not only that, but like fighting things is impossible. Getting like adjustments fixed is even worse than I've had to deal with. Like Josh was telling me, he's like, somehow this isn't the worst experience I've had working with an insurance company. He was like,
I have to ask,
he was
what was?
he's like State Farm. He's like every single thing needed to be estimated like down to the nail. And then they would go line by line trying to change things.
Meanwhile-
And then you would go and he'd do it, and then they wouldn't pay you out until it's done, and then they'd have to send an adjuster out to make sure that you did exactly what you said you were going to do. He's like, it's just so stupid.
I would love to see my adjuster again. She came out, we talked about Above and Beyond and a bunch of concerts at the Gorge, and she was like, you don't technically need this, but I'm going to give you a fully clad this, like, just marking, like, yeah, you need everything.
I had
Great experience.
a jerk from Texas,
Ugh.
and then I had a nice older man who was just fine.
Okay.
But
I like that transition. And then I had a nice
yeah,
older
I had to
man
deal with the
who was
guy
fine.
from Texas for a long time, but I got him to go away, and I don't think he works for Homestead anymore because he was
Good.
very bad. But anyway, so
All right. Before we dig into the first topic, patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this super cool website, you're going to find 3 open-ended levels of support starting at just 99 cents a month. For content consumers, that's you. To support content producers, that's us. Patreon.com/Carbitrage.
I have a hams, you have a Nordies.
I do. That's
Yay,
correct. All right.
beers.
Now,
Anyway,
yay, we finally get to topics.
unsurprisingly, the Dodge Hornet is terrible.
Oh, wow. I really would have thought that would have been terrible.
Yeah, no, they have some of the lowest rates of people that are like happy about their purchase of any vehicle.
I didn't
Like-
even know this was on sale yet.
I've seen exactly one.
I've seen TV ads, which was weird because I don't really watch TV very much. So what are people saying about the?
So basically, what they did is they took the Alfa Romeo Tonale, while it was still cooking, and then they kind of just made their own version of it, which is historically a terrible idea. Historically, taking Italian homework and making it yourself doesn't work well, because you don't speak Italian and nobody speaks Italian. But they currently have a 517-day supply of Dodge Hornets at dealerships.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's a function more of the quantity that were shipped or how slowly they're transacting.
So,
I love this quote on the screen. That's great.
yeah.
This was the first vehicle I purchased on my own, and now I am so disappointed.
Yep. Yeah. No, this is
Amazing.
basically what people are saying. I purchased a Dodge Hornet September 9th, 2023, and it has already broken down. I had to leave it towed Monday to the Dodge dealership, and the mechanic just called me and said there are 200 different codes. I'm so upset that I was sold a lemon. This is the first vehicle I purchased on my own. I'm so disappointed. My parents live in Michigan, are extremely worried about me, my safety, the cost and inconvenience that this is causing me. Yeah, that's what happens when you...
Lemon law attorney.
Yeah. Like, what did you expect? Like, Dodge has never, ever been known for their build quality, and the only thing Dodge makes are funny cars.
And yeah, first year model reliability too on compound with that in Dodge. Especially when it's, to your point, based on Italian homework. Maybe not. Because I'm sure they're still using Magnetti Marelli body control systems for some reason. Or there's some catastrophic water line that comes off the sprayers that goes right into a body module computer. I don't know.
These are really catastrophic electrical problems across the board on every system. While coming over an overpass, my dashboard lit up. I lost all acceleration. My adaptive cruise controls failed. I'm so grateful I was driving the vehicle, not my new driver's son. He would have ended up in the ditch. I noted my side view mirrors were not opening every time the car powers on. The car has 2 different alarm sounds, and they went off intermittently. Oh my God, my neighbor's Dodge does that.
What do you mean?
Their alarm will just go off.
Just when it's parked.
Random times. Yep.
Great.
Yep. No, that is a thing that Dodges do.
I don't like that.
Yeah. So the front and rear collision system lights continue to go off. The service tech advised that was not currently a fix for the issues, but Chrysler Engineering has assured that there will be something in Q4 of this year. Of the 14 days I've owned this vehicle, it has been in the shop for 4 full days. I should have been there longer. My dealership has advised that there's no way to cancel the deal or reverse it, but no buyback option. My only recourse is to complain to Chrysler customer service and hope that they will offer some discount to apply to a trade on a different vehicle.
Nope, there's lemon laws.
Yeah,
actually.
nope. This is exactly
Definitely.
why we talk about a lot of extremely arbitrary, weird problems on cars. Mm-hmm. And the reason we do that is these are situations that people real life run into that we do not hear other outlets talking about.
Correct.
And this is a catastrophic problem. Mm-hmm. Like, this is why we did the blow by blow on Scott's several lemon law issues on exactly what to do.
And we're gonna finish up on the ID4 at some point.
Yeah. And these are just like, this is wild that people aren't aware that like they can do this. Like, yeah, if your car is this shitty, that's literally illegal. Like, real life, actual fact. Like, that's illegal. You should go to an attorney that deals with lemon laws and get your car bought back because it's not okay. Like, America needs more shitty cars because people don't know what to do in this situation. Mm-hmm. Like,
and a lot of those attorneys will work on contingency too.
Exactly. And so this is why like people are wondering, like, Ryan, why do you like VinFast so much? I'm like, because America, we are not aware of this.
Right.
Like, we have laws for this specific purpose. And the thing is, the big three, for the most part, have avoided these laws. Mm-hmm. So actually having cars and examples that are in the public zeitgeist of what a shit car is, like, that needs to exist in this country. So people are aware and know what to do. It's like if... Like, right now, a lemon law buyback, it's about as arbitrary as my butter churner quit working. What do I do?
Especially on a first model year vehicle, too, where you are setting the precedent.
Yes.
But when there's a safety issue like that, what that first commenter was saying is like, yeah, it's a good thing I was driving, not my new driver's son, because it would have caused a safety issue.
And you think about, like, all the shit that happens with Tesla and everything is, like, I'm shocked that we don't hear about more lemon law Teslas.
That's a good point. actually.
Like there's like or the
I think the owners are just so gung ho about Musk's farts.
No,
They just don't care.
I genuinely think that's it. Because you've also, I'm sure, seen the photos online of the guy who had his Ford Mach-E bricked because the over-the-air update went wrong because his home Wi-Fi quit working, like briefly,
No, but that's amazing.
and he couldn't get to work in the morning, and he had to have the car towed to the dealership, and the dealership had to reset it, and it took like 3 days.
Great.
Yeah,
Super good.
cool.
Nice.
We live in hell.
See, when my computer failed, well, it failed multiple times. When it really failed, though, car still worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just so silly. It's like, oh, hey, we broke this over-the-air update, but there wasn't enough space on the like solid state drive in the car to like save both versions, so there's no fallback.
They're also all eMMC flash, which is junk.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, even the new ones are eMMC, and no, they do that because it's a really tight little package, BGA.
Because cars don't have giant amounts of space that can fit humans in them that you can put like a small computer into.
Right.
Your computer needs to fit in the SIM card of a phone.
But,
Obviously.
Also, there's a lot of read-write happening on an infotainment
Yes.
system with caching in satellite maps and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. eMMC really doesn't have a long read-write life.
No, they have like a few 100,000 read writes.
It's pretty bad.
Like that's something that when I was shopping for my my new M.2 drive on my computer, I was looking at that and it was like one of the things I was looking at
TBW.
I was looking at the number of read write cycles estimated versus the price, and I'm like, eventually I just went with the Inland because I'm like, whatever, it's so much cheaper than everything else. But I'm like,
They're good drives, too.
yeah, but I'm like, it's not like it's not where it's like very cheap and I get like 100,000 read writes. I get like I think it's like something like
It's usually
240 or
measured in
something.
terabytes written, so if you can get 400 TBW out of a drive, that's
I
really
think
good.
it was something like that. Yeah, I think it was 400. Yeah, but like it's just it's really fascinating to me that
It's
we are dealing with this new era of cars where there are going to be many lemons, as Scott has found out. And it's like
Minnesota's foremost lemon law attorney.
people don't know what to do about that. I think that's just really insane to me.
And the companies make it that way, too.
Yes.
They don't want you to know what to do.
They absolutely don't. No.
That whole thing about contact their customer support, literally, they're going to give you a fuck-off offer, which
Yeah.
is going to be insulting.
And people are going to take it.
They're going to take it because they have no idea that they have legal recourse, and if they stick it out,
And if they take the fuck off offer, they're going to take a non-arbitration clause and
and then they can't talk about it either.
yeah,
which is great.
can't do anything. Yeah, so then here you are, just like turbo fucked, and so is everybody else.
Yep, in
So-
your broken Hornet.
Yep. Great.
Oh,
Lovely.
man,
Anyway.
I don't really. I mean, that's not ultra surprising coming out of Stellantis, but honestly, I want to talk about a Honda recall. With,
Oh, what?
Yeah. A massive mechanical one, in fact, that stretches. 5 years.
So there's a reason I called this episode "Surprise MF'er" because like it's basically everything here.
I can put a link in there.
That is insane.
Let's grab the top one.
So 250,000.
A quarter of a million J-Series V6s in Honda and Acura products sold from 2015 to 2020 have main bearings that
The
don't-
crankshaft had a manufacturer. And what happened with it? The main bearings?
since the crankshaft is out of tolerance, there's a tremendous amount of vibration that's eating the main bearings alive. So the dealerships are going to be very, very full of Accords and Pilots and MDXs. It's 250,000. It's a lot of cars.
You know, I really think that cars' reliability like peaked in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Like,
it did.
everything has gotten worse because everybody goes, "Oh, cars are so reliable in the '90s." But if you look at the ones that were most reliable in the '90s, it was all '80s stuff. Like
It was fewer camshafts, thicker
Like
oil.
here's my single for KMD series.
power,
Here's
yeah.
my B series. Here's my 7 AFE, which is a 4HE, which is a 70s engine. Here's my like 4.2 liter inline six in my Jeep
my
that
God,
nothing
right.
breaks on. Like, it's just insane how many cars are just like catastrophically broken on a regular basis.
And like Honda, you've nailed the V6. Just stop it. Like, stop changing it. And I understand, like, maybe
they
the
have to.
manufacturing was out of their control, but I really doubt it. Because they make their own engines.
They also have to update things for emission standards. And like,
Right.
this is what's going to kill the internal combustion engine. It's not going to be like very expensive gas. It's not going to be like government mandates. It's going to be like, you cannot reliably make one that can go 100,000 miles. Like, they're going to get wildly unreliable, because if you thought of like, what did it take to have a car in like 1960 that made 100 horsepower per liter? Like, it would be a Ferrari 250, which is like not a daily driver. And like, that's a matter of efficiency, different than fuel economy, but efficiency is efficiency in one way or another. With modern cars, you're still going to be dealing with like, what is the edge of efficiency for fuel economy? And that efficiency is going to come from reliability.
Yeah, it's direct injection, running higher pressures with thinner oils, and
yeah, it's going to be cutting down on anything that has drag on it, and it's going to
the engines are way better made now than they used to be. But there are so many other factors, to your point, that are ruining them so much faster. It's like it's kind of amazing that these things, honestly, last as long as they do in the modern cityscape, because if you're running 0W20 oil and you're getting just tons of fuel blowing past your rigs as you're idling in the school drop line every day,
well, it's
your 15,000-mile oil change interval.
It's like we were talking about in a prior episode. We were talking about the whole idling thing, and we were saying like, yeah, no, it's bullshit what the news is saying, because you can't just have a blanket clause of you can't idle your car. Like, on old cars, you had to warm them up. On new cars, you cannot. Like, you cannot have a blanket statement.
Right.
Like that. Like that. It's just not. It's just
Your car can have a little idling as a treat.
Yeah. Like, what the thing is like, then like a lot of people are still trying to treat this like it's the 1990s, where you can just say, yeah, carte blanche, this is a thing. Like, this is how you replace a distributor, because all cars have a distributor. Like, you can't like say stuff like that. You can't teach that anymore, and you can't say like, oh, this car's has to run this specific oil. Like, okay, like the manufacturer says that.
Right.
But then, like, occasionally you do run into an engine where it's like, oh, the oil guys are actually extremely small, so you do have to run 0W20.
Dodge 2.7.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this was designed to be run in, like, you can idle it if you're in, like, the French Riviera, but, like, not anywhere else in the world.
And yes, exactly. There are a bunch of oils that just don't work properly in a lot of in engine designs, but there are also a lot of older engine designs that do have these bigger oil returns that used to get spec'd with thicker oils and are now being spec'd with a thinner oil,
like a J series. Yes.
Just because that's part of the CAFE standards. It's how they get their emissions down. It's how they get new cars out the door.
And
it's causing crankshaft.
Well, now you're dealing with issues that are like, cool, now I'm in this uncanny valley of, do I follow new car like rules and standards, or do I follow old car things? It's kind of like when you had toilet bowl injection on old V8s back in the 70s. Like, everything, we're kind of dealing with another era of that.
Yeah.
Of like that kind of like post malaise, where like everybody's still trying to like figure out how to like do stuff again. Like,
right.
We had it figured out for about 20 years, and then new rules, and now we have to refigure things out for the next 20 years.
And a lot of that is waiting for things to break so you can identify and make these changes. But man, we have been very slow as a society to figure out direct injected gasoline engines.
Well, I think the part of the issue is that gasoline operates differently than diesel. And while direct injection has existed in diesel applications for much longer,
almost 100 years.
Yeah, than normal cars, we don't have the ability to like say, oh, this is what it's going to do, because it's a completely different liquid. So all these systems were designed assuming it's going to operate the same as diesel. But now you have stuff where it's like, oh, idling, it's washing the cylinders, and now you have cars that have thin oil that is now even thinner, and like now you have like crankshaft issues, and I have this issue and that issue. And it's just like, yeah, and it's like it's kind of like we really should just let the Otto cycle engine die and be done with it, because it is so far past its prime.
Yeah.
That like what you're gonna have to do, the R&D you're gonna have to do to make an Otto cycle engine continue to work is going to be more expensive than just converting to an electric or hydrogen or whatever.
Unless, full electrification can like pull down these requirements enough where the auto manufacturer can still make something proper that's still less efficient. But yeah, of course, these are publicly traded companies. That's not happening.
Well, not only that, like they're publicly traded companies, but it's also like Do you really think that there's going to be any politician on Earth that is going to be in a position where they're going to say, hey, we have enough EVs that we can make chargers again? Like, that's never going to exist.
Maybe, but they're not going to be the elected official. So.
Yeah, well, the thing is that it's going to be like, okay, you might have, say, like a Republican that would do that, but like there's going to be some other cursed reason why he wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like, there's going to be some sort of corporate thing where it's like, oh, well, now the auto manufacturers are making all the EVs, so now it's bad to go back. And then you're never going to have somebody that's like a progressive that's going to do that because...
I agree with you, though,
because
there are so many really good products out there right now that are internal combustion.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not going to buy any of them because they would be, for me, some sort of daily driver use case.
Yeah.
And I'm just not interested in not having an electric daily driver anymore. For that use case and how I drive... That's just what I'm going to be buying into perpetuity.
They do not have... There's not currently a car sold in the United States that checks enough boxes for me to buy new as a internal combustion car. And it's like, a Jimny is about...
Oh, boy.
But that's the thing, it's not sold in America.
Right.
That's sold in Mexico.
Well, that's America.
Well, the United States of America. But, like, that's literally the only new internal combustion engine vehicle I would buy right now.
I like the Corolla GR a lot.
I would not buy it.
I like the M2 quite a bit because apparently it drives freaking amazing.
Yeah, but you already have an M1. You already have a 1M.
I have a 1M, which is better, so I just don't care. I appreciate that these things are made, but coming back to it, like,
and
I'm a car enthusiast.
The Corolla
with money.
GR,
yeah,
like that exists, but like there's already existing vehicles that I'd rather have. Like, how much money is a Corolla GR?
if you're lucky enough to find one that actually exists somewhere, they're mid to high 40s.
So mid to high 40s, God, that's really in the realm of quite literally any car I want. And it's
you
like
pretty much get an Ioniq 5N for that.
I'm thinking, yeah, you can get that. I could get like the world's greatest actual A86. I could get like any number of imported cars. I'm leaving imported cars out of there because I really don't want to include that in this list because if people start buying imported cars instead of new cars, then we're going to run into a new import 25-year rule because that's what caused the 25-year rule in the first place.
Oh my God. I can't. No.
Yeah, but like...
It's bad enough as it is.
I'm thinking like... Oh, man. I would... So for a Corolla, yeah, I would literally just get a AE86 with like a 3S GT in it. Like, or like a Beams 3S.
And you know what? It's going to be reliable because it's an
yes, and it'll be
80s
more
or 90s
fun.
engine
It'll be
family.
more fun, and I'll like it more. And like that would be a $40,000 car as well. Like...
But again, that's like the AE86 isn't going to be the daily.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, for a daily,
Right.
like, no, I would literally do that over buy a new Corolla because it's the same amount of money. And it'd be, at that point, it would be just as reliable as a vehicle.
But it's going to rust.
So is a Corolla.
Well, yeah, but the AE86 has got like...
No, you can undercoat it. It doesn't matter. But
that's true. You got to get that true coat.
The thing is like, there's a number of old cars I would buy that are like not that. And... It's just, it doesn't make sense for me to buy a new car these days. And I know, like, people have always said that, but it's like, it used to be that, like, there were a number of new cars I would buy, like, even 2 years ago.
I mean,
like,
look at our...
2 years ago, I had the Spark, I had the Mirage, I had all sorts of, like, small cars. But, like, they don't exist.
Well, at least not in this country.
You know, NPR is actually talking about bloat with new cars.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for normal people seeing this.
Yeah,
shit.
that was on Marketplace, and how much of, like, a problem it's turning into for... American manufacturers because like people like Tesla are losing their shirt to BYD because everything's huge here and everything that's sold in Europe is huge and everything that Europe wants is cheap and small. Like even for a private EV, like why would you take a Tesla when you can get like a BYD $10,000 city car?
Right.
So yeah, that's insane.
I'm not after a big car.
Speaking of small cars, the Abarth 595.
Yes.
Liberty Walk made a wide body kit for it.
Oh boy.
And my pants don't fit right now because it actually looks extremely good.
Wait for this to cache. There we go. Oh boy, that's so low. This looks like a.
This one's definitely on airbags.
A video game snapshot.
Yeah, this one's definitely on airbags. But like, you could raise that to a reasonable height, and that would look extremely cool. Like raised up like an inch or two. Like raised an inch or two, that'd look extremely cool.
Yeah.
Because then it would actually look like the old school like Abarths from like the 60s that had wide body kits.
It does look like a spec racing series car, but it's a lot of meat underneath that thing.
And look at the price for carbon fiber, or not carbon fiber, for the entire body kit. You could get literally an entire Abarth for the price of just the body kit.
You could get a few used Abarths for that. So, wow.
Yeah.
The fiberglass kit is $15,000.
And then there's single items you can add in addition to that if you scroll down that are also hideously expensive.
Oh my God. That's not even for the entire thing that we can see there.
Yeah, I actually, man, if I had the money, I would get the hood because the hood looks really cool.
I do like that they incorporated the new Fiat 500e like headlight things into the.
I do like that a lot. That's actually why I'm like, man, I really like that hood. That looks extremely cool.
That's a good idea, frankly.
Yeah. So
this is a lot of money.
Yes.
For a body kit.
Yes.
LB Holdings. Oh my gosh.
Well, to be fair, they are handmade.
Well, okay.
Yeah, like they don't like make these in a factory. Like it's literally a dude in Japan that makes these. Like they're very cool.
Is this
like,
Forza? What engine is this rendered in?
I don't know. It's probably Unreal. Like honestly, it is probably rendered in an Unreal Engine based off of how the background looks and everything. Like these are the photos that they released of the body kit design.
What a shouty, snorty little boy.
But I mean, like that's honestly pretty cool. Like
I mean, I love the Fiat 500, so
yeah, especially the 595, and that's the one that
you wouldn't get the Tributo Ferrari.
But that's the one that doesn't have the back seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like that's like the actual one, even though it's rendered with the back seat, because they just took a Fiat 500 model and threw them, but whatever. But they would not have a back seat on them. But that's still very cool. I'm totally here for it. Like that's.
And you know that isn't gonna fall off like the factory side skirts.
Yes, exactly.
Which is good.
And so like the thing is that I know Liberty Walk makes some extremely cursed vehicles.
They do.
But like this is a car that is fine to put a wide body kit on is a hot hatch.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like Ferrari, no.
That's
hot
how
hatch,
the Renault
yes.
5 was built, man.
Yeah,
Literally.
like this is supposed to have a body kit on. Like Abarths are stupid cars. I love stupid cars, and yeah, continue to make this more stupid, please. Like I'm here for it.
In fact, Liberty Walk, it's not stupid enough. I'm going to need you to go ahead and bring your stupid up from like 7 to 9.
Yeah, this needs to be a 9 in the stupid scale. It needs a roof scoop.
But since it's, I don't know, man. To your point, yeah, I'd love to see a couple inches higher off the ground just to see how that looks.
Yeah, it look good, raised a couple inches, and like their body kits are able to be used for like track cars. Like they are well built body kits. Like the fake ones are not. But like for $17,000, you get your money's worth. I know, right?
The eBay body kits from our high school era weren't high quality.
No, I'm not talking about those. No, there are knockoffs of modern like Liberty Walk and Rocket Money body kits that look similar.
Oh no!
But they're very poorly made and they don't fit well. Like next time you see a wide body kit on a car, it like fits really shitty. It's probably a knockoff of a Rocket Money. But like, the actual kits, like.
Everyone loves those cutout fenders.
Yeah, but the actual kits are able to be used like on track, and they do have a purpose for it. Like RWB came from like the Idlers Car Club, which were a bunch of Porsche people that would go on track days, and then the Rowell Bograph body kits were just, I would like to put bigger tires on my Porsche, please.
Also, now that I've done the bigger tire thing, I need you to make a new body.
Yeah, and so, but that's where it came from, is like when like 993s are still cheap and you would actually take on the track, and then all the hot boys got them. And so
poor 993s, man.
I think this is cool, and yeah,
it's kind of like a special edition Fiat 500, and we love all Fiat.
And it does follow the body lines extremely well. It's not like it is not like the Ferrari 512 TR where they just stuck a 90s front end onto an 80s car.
Again. You and the arrow headlights, Fox body.
Yes, I don't like that at all. But this follows the body lines. I can look at any part of this and say, yeah, this is definitely for a Fiat 500.
Exactly.
Like that rear wing. Like you look at that and go, this is a Fiat 500 rear wing.
That's not going to fit on anything else.
Yeah, that does not match anything else's body lines.
He just looks all angry and just wants to do some racing. Well, since we're on the topic
of low-key looks a little bored.
Fiat 500s. Does he? I don't know.
Look at his little bored eyes.
Well, look, he's idling, okay? He's not even racing right now.
And it's just his little mustache, and he's just like, he's not doing anything. He's bored.
Fine, that's a cat waiting for its feeder to go
off.
Well, since we're on the topic of 500, this is actually aged information, so I'll update a little bit on it now. But the last time we recorded,
Yes.
we had some worrying news about the 500D potentially getting delayed for the U.S. market because of how bad sales were and how bad the current economic climate was. However, it is for sure coming here. Dealers now have allocations,
Good
which
news.
is good. Yes.
The Fed has said, well, not the Fed, Janet Yellen has said, I'm not really on behalf of the Fed, but there's things that the Fed can't say that Janet Yellen can say because she
Janet
doesn't.
Yellen doesn't give a...
Well, because she doesn't work for the Fed anymore.
Oh, didn't she?
Well, she used to, but now she doesn't.
Is she just on the House Finance Committee now?
No, Janet Yellen was previously the head of the Fed. Now she's the head of she's cabinet post for finances.
Okay.
She said that we've officially stuck a soft landing.
Oh, good.
Yes, because like actually looking at the macro numbers, which is like it's kind of cursed. But, like I understand macroeconomics more than I do micro. So with the soft landing, basically unemployment has come down to pre-pandemic levels. Inflation is at a reasonable level of like 4%, which is like honestly, it's like 2 to 4 is what you want to aim for.
I know they were aiming for 2, but like I also heard that might not be realistic.
Two
so.
2 to 4 is what you go for. If like that's how the Fed runs is like somewhere within there. If it's outside of that 2 to 4 range, you kind of start getting alarm bells. The consumer price index is fairly stabilized. Like rent prices aren't going up in insane levels. Housing prices are actually falling because there's a bunch of new construction coming online. So yeah, that's a macroeconomic good news thing pertaining to the 500 for a car that's about to be launched in America.
Exactly, because
Yes.
people may actually start having some financial stability on money again in the near term, so they could actually look into buying these things. But I've gotten a lot of information from both Corey and Scott. Corey was actually on the email list for one of the local dealers when these things came in. Very good. That curious. And, of course, the information is just incredibly misleading from the dealer. Yep, all of our new cars are zero-option vehicles. I'm like, no, they're all very high-option vehicles with no additional options available. But, like, when you are sending out emails to the people that actually contacted you first on a vehicle and you get that fundamental fact wrong, I'm very worried.
Well, I mean, it's dealerships. They're always terrible.
These are still made in Italy, so that they're not eligible for the federal tax credit if you buy it. However, they might be if you lease it. And Minnesota's tax credit now is still in effect, or will come into effect
extremely
soon.
Interesting.
So you might, if that does work, you
also,
might be able
if
to
you
get,
want a first-year car,
yeah,
the move is to lease it anyway.
right. It's
So
going to be
that's
in
the
the
way to
shop
get it.
all the
Yeah.
time anyway.
Oh man,
So,
that would be a really cool object.
Again, if you're going to get one of these, look into leasing it, because it's just like the first gen 500e, where they were like $30,000 cars. This is a $32,000 base vehicle now,
Yeah.
the new 500, but like that's really not that different than the original one. And look at those, man. Those were getting shoved out the door with $99 a month leases for
You know
compliance.
what? I bet you will also be right set up on that lease, like on a Subaru, because Subarus have the at least numbers are based off nationally aggregated average depreciation values.
Okay.
So like a Subaru in Florida depreciates a hell of a lot more than a Subaru here, right?
All right, it's because nobody needs any of the all-wheel
I
drive.
think that these are going to depreciate a hell of a lot more nationally than they will here or
Yes.
in any sort of city setting. That's really interesting because like somebody in North Dakota is not going to want anything to do with this.
And the beauty of that is when you're at the end of that, whatever, 3-year term
You
lease,
can just buy it out for...
the buyout might not be favorable, though. And what I did on my first 500 is it was a lease return.
Yeah.
And somebody probably had an obscenely high buyout, and it just got sent to auction.
Oh, weird.
And then
Oh.
a dealership bought it, and then I bought it from a dealership. So either way, even if the lease buyout isn't favorable, you could just go buy the
Oh, you know
equivalent
why?
car.
Because yours was your 500E.
Yeah, my first
So,
one.
yeah, because that was a compliance vehicle. That's one of those situations where, yeah, in California, they appreciated, or they didn't appreciate. Anyway, the price, you'd be upside down on your lease by the time you're out of it. You wouldn't buy it out.
Right.
But in Minnesota, you probably will be actually, because the value for the buyout will be less than what it would be to just purchase it outright.
It helps that it's nationally
Yeah.
sold because
Like
that
people in
average is gonna
California
help
will
you.
actually want that car,
Correct.
but in for your era, like people in California would want that car, but like in Texas they wouldn't have any sales data for it, so that would mess with the lease terms. But with this, that's actually really interesting. It's really cool.
So that's worth looking into because I still love this little bugger, and 32 is a lot of money. But if it was 22 after the credits,
Yes, 22.
100%.
I would. This is a $22,000 car for me. Absolutely,
Hell
no
yeah.
question.
42 kilowatt hours usable.
Yep.
And the original was
Make
like
it as
18.
I want the
so-
stripper model with an electric motor and a heater and a heat pump, and that's all I want.
They don't have a heat pump, I don't think.
I don't care. It lives in the city.
I still want it.
If I could get one, I would. It would not be a deal breaker without it. Ooh, actually, no, I do. I'm making a rule to myself. I'm never buying a car without a sunroof again. So I would need a sunroof. That'd be the only thing.
I don't know. The base U.S. whatever first edition specs are out there. I
Yes,
don't know.
I
I think it
don't-
probably has a sunroof.
I don't think they do. But if they
It would
did,
surprise me, man.
if they have one, I'm here for it.
All the Primas shipped with sunroofs.
Very good. Okay, cool. Then maybe I'll get lucky.
I hope so. I don't know. Either way, we're going to keep covering the Fiat 500e for you guys because it matters, and it's a very good small car. It just needs to be a little cheaper.
Yes. Well, anyway, speaking of cars, I want to talk about the new Lancia Ypsilon EV prototype, which has the drip, as you see.
Is that a drip or is that a flooded vehicle?
A flooded vehicle has several drips.
Thank you. Okay. I'm okay. Just it's fine.
So the French authorities were called to rescue a submerged vehicle, and they didn't know that would turn out to be the new Lancia Ypsilon EV prototype, which is now ruined. But there you go.
So is that like a camo thing on the body,
That's
or did that come from the channel?
No, that's a camo thing, but also came from the channel. It ended up in the water, yes, and it's very ruined. It got completely destroyed during an unfortunate joyride that ended in a canal.
Oh,
Yes.
so this wasn't even just like weather doing this. This was somebody stole it and
Yes.
ditched it.
Which I think is just...
Somebody, hey, Lancia, high praise. Somebody liked your Ypsilon enough to steal
You know,
it.
if your car's getting stolen, like that's probably a sign of being something that people want, unless it's a Kia, where it's just a crime of opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, this one has the one that's compatible with my USB cable, so let's go for that one.
But yeah, so apparently the roof of the vehicle was seen poking out of the water, and they quickly rounded up divers to see if people were involved. Nobody was in the car or near it, but the car was definitely completely submerged in the water and ruined.
Hey, but it didn't start on fire.
That's true, and that actually says a lot about the car.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot about that's actually a real safety concern I'd have for an electric vehicle.
Well, I mean, boomers on Facebook always just every time there's any crash or anything with an EV, you're like, oh, can it catch on fire?
Well, no, I was thinking about more like electrocution and stuff.
I
Like
get
the
you.
fact that divers
Especially
could
if it's
approach the
salt.
car
Yeah.
and be just fine. That's actually really cool. So that's good.
Ta-da!
So this is a good
Yeah.
real world survival
Wow,
test.
look at that new Lancia Ypsilon EV.
Now we know. Yeah.
What a beaut. What a beaut. Man, all right, what have I got next here? Oh, sorry.
Wow. What the hell is that?
That came out of nowhere. I still get like that dry cough, man, and sometimes in
It
the
just-
middle of an inhale, you're like, hey, it's actually right now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's happening now. No!
No! Anyway, so thank you, Toyota, because not only did the federalized manual transmission that already existed here in the States for the old 340i,
Yes.
Toyota completely redesigned the shift linkage, and now the Z4 is getting that transmission and Toyota's linkage.
Oh, very good.
And the praise is high because everything was tuned very well for the Supra, and of course that's just been plugged right into the Z4.
Perfect.
But
this
honestly,
is good news. This is genuinely good news.
we don't have. I can't think of what other like manual roadsters do we have anymore.
Miata.
I think it's okay. That.
You could have this or a Miata, and this is no Miata is worth a penny more than $1,000.
Right, and the transmissions don't explode in these, and they
Yeah.
do in Miatas.
I mean, like the thing is with the Miata, the best Miata is the cheapest Miata because it's designed to be a cheap car. This is actually a good roadster.
Yeah.
Like this is like a properly good Z3,
Yes.
and so like it's a Z4, whatever.
Well,
but
it
like
doesn't matter.
you know how the Z3 was in the '90s, where it's like, yeah, here's like a good roadster. Like, this is what the SL used to be. Like, this is the successor to Pagoda SL. Good. Now you have that back.
Somebody
Enjoy
actually
it.
did like research on what a Roadster should be.
Yes, I hope it sells. I don't want it because I don't like BMWs. But like, hey, that's cool.
I'm glad it exists.
That's
and
cool.
Like,
I would rather have a 124, but hey.
Me too, which is why I do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anytime something
However,
good
this
happens,
is 124 is certainly very much so just a Miata. This is a lot more hair on it. Like this is a
bigger, heavier, way more powerful car.
Yeah,
so.
no, this is actually would be a very good. I would get that over the new Supra.
I probably would too.
If I were to get one of those two, I'd get that over the Supra.
The Supra is not a 2+2, so yeah, why would you not get this?
No, the Supra is literally just a worse version of this car. And for some reason, millennials have an aversion to convertibles and sunroofs.
They're just wrong.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, but my head doesn't fit. Like, that's just not true. You're full of shit.
That's reversed with the glass roofs now.
Yeah,
it gives you more headroom.
I have less headroom in cars that don't have sunroofs. Like,
in the
sunroofs
90s,
do help.
You're right.
Yeah.
You lost headroom, and they were very heavy, and it was bad for center of gravity and all this other shit. They're still bad for rusting out cars, but whatever.
But this
anyway,
is fine.
But convertibles, yeah. What's the matter with people, man? The aversion. It seems like
I would rather have a convertible every day, and they're like, "Well, it's a safety thing." I'm like, if you're rolling your car over, you're worried about the roof collapsing, you're probably already pretty fucked. Like, you're gonna be very maimed.
How many cars have you rolled over? If you're asking me that question,
yeah,
that's what I want to know.
Yeah, like,
because it sounds like a you problem.
Also, rollovers where you end up like just like the car just lands on its roof are extremely rare. Mm-hmm. Like in trucks, yeah, it makes sense.
And they still have the pyrotechnic rollover hoop things. Like, you're fine. Unless you roll it into sand and it digs in, you're probably okay.
Even then. Like, if you roll into sand and it digs in, you're, again, already in the place where there's probably something else that's going to kill you. Like, being in a convertible is not going to be... That's going to be the least of your problems. It's not like a convertible version of Jana's car, where it's like, no, that actually does make it objectively worse in every way. Like, this is a modern vehicle. You're fine. Like, as I've said many times, pretty much any modern vehicle
the Solara
is... I like their makeshift center console.
I know. Good. This mule car, I just want it like that. Just sell the actual
send me
one
that.
like that.
Oh, that's great.
It's just a big red button on this like crudely bent piece of sheet metal.
This is good. The world should...
What does that say?
I have no idea. But like, the world deserves this. This is a good vehicle. I'm happy about this.
Yeah, I'm credit where it's due. I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, I want to round out this a little bit shorter of an episode because I want to talk about another car sales tip. And this specifically pertains to Japanese import cars. And so with Japanese import cars, Lord knows there's no shortage of crappy ones coming through. Because like people find out, people will buy imported Japanese cars. And they go buy all the trash from all the Japanese auctions. And now you have all the world's worst K trucks. Like all flooding the United States. Which is like, fine. They're workhorses. But like, it's one thing if you get like a shitty K truck and it's like, damn, I'm out $5,000.
Right.
It's one thing if you get a shitty R34.
Oh God.
And then you're out cheap. All of your money. And so there's a car, basically a Carfax for Japanese cars called CarVX. And CarVX this is a sample report of one. It's basically Carfax. It tells you everything because Japan has very strict Shokin vehicle roadworthiness tests that happen every year.
Nice.
This pulls all the Shokin database information. If it's ever been in an accident, if there's ever been an odometer rollback, if there's any safety recalls, if it has radiation contamination from Fukushima, which is actually a real thing.
Yep. No, I didn't think about that.
Nope,
but,
that is a real life actual thing. Because that can actually... This is something that's very interesting. I have not personally dealt with this, but I have seen stories of people buying like very good Toyota Century. Super nice. Like they got the deal of a lifetime on it. It had a 4 on the auction grade report, which is about as high as you can get. Brings it to America. Everything's good. And then when it's in the port, DHS looks at it and they do a radiation test, and it turns out it came from always like a block away from Fukushima. So like the car itself is fine, but as soon as you put a Geiger counter anywhere near a vent, it goes bananas. And like now you cannot register the car because now this is like literally industrial waste, and now you just purchased industrial waste.
The half-life of that industrial waste is quite long.
Longer than your lifetime. Yep.
Correct.
So like you can pull the vents out and get new ones, but like that's hideously expensive.
On a Century? No way.
Also, think of like the hazmat cost of that, because your random technician's not going to do that. You have to have a dude like in a radiation suit do that. Like it sucks.
I was gonna say, unless you don't tell them.
Effectively, it totals the car. So that's actually really good to have, and it also gives you average market price of like what the Japanese market is, whatever. And you'll never find a car as like buyback guarantee because it's like old Japanese car. But it'll actually tell you like the accident history, odometer readings. You'll see that. So where it was sold, you'll see the original or the very first Shokin test, and then where it was before it went to auction, who purchased it, to send it to auction. If it was used commercially, if it was used in any radiation contaminated area, if it failed a radiation contamination test, which is actually interesting because sometimes you can get lucky. You'll get
Is that part of the annual inspection or
yes?
No? Oh wow, Jesus.
So if you have a car that's like registered in Fukushima, but it passed all of its radiation tests,
yeah,
because like the car's registered, but like we lived in Sayama, like. Cool. Now you just got a car that's a lot cheaper because of where it was registered. And so sometimes you can get that. Even gives you a vehicle assessment of it on newer vehicles, that is. Manufacturer recall history. This is like a super Carfax for old Japanese cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of data here.
Yes. And every now and then you'll get cars where it's like the car VX comes back clean, but the car looks shitty, but like you'll be able to tell that it looks shitty. But this is really good for providing that peace of mind for people that may be purchasing or bidding on your car. And this can really unlock some additional money because these reports, how much do you think this costs?
$79?
No. It costs 3,500 yen. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
That is $24.69.
That is so cheap. But I guess,
it's
okay.
insanely cheap.
When you have a built-up infrastructure of, like, this is compulsory and you have to have these inspections, this data has to be a lot cheaper to collect.
And it'll even tell you what kind of engine it originally had, the ground clearance, fuel consumption, all that stuff is all noted from Japan. So if you have, say, this is something that happens with K-trucks a lot, is you'll have K-truck that has no badging on it, and you don't know what engine's supposed to be in it. And so, like, you're like, that's silly. Like, they all have, like, 69 horsepower. I'm like, yeah, they do at the highest trim level. But the lowest trim level on a Daihatsu Hijet has 24 horsepower.
That's a lot lower.
That is literally a third the horsepower of...
And we're going to need all 69.
Yes,
so.
You need every horsepower that you need with that vehicle. So these matter. So if you're ever looking at one, you're like, I don't know what engine this is. And the engine's in the center of the vehicle. I have to tear the interior apart to get to the center to the engine to actually look at it. Yeah, you can look at what's in there.
That's easy to do when you're running around an auction.
Well, it's like, also, like, let's say you're going to go look at a car that's, 2 hours out of town, right?
Yeah.
Well, that you're going to go 2 hours out of town and you're going to pop the hood. They don't know what engine's in it. You look at it and you go, shit. Okay, cool. It's the 24 horsepower version. And you go, and you're like, well, I guess I'm just wasted 2 hours of my time to go look at a vehicle that's literally too slow for me to drive on the highway. However, you can also run into situations where you go, oh, cool. This says this is Suzuki every RZ turbo. This is a cappuccino engine in it. I'm going to go take a look at it. This looks great. You go out there, you open it, you pop the hood, and you go, this is a 6-valve with a turbo slapped on it. That's not an RZ turbo. Oh. And then now you have, cool, now I'm making 65 horsepower, but at great cost reliability. So it's just like...
I was going to say, if your Every isn't designed to be a turbo...
Well, yeah, I mean, you can, but like sometimes like you could literally just take the turbo manifold and just stick it onto the base engine and then blow it up.
That's what you want.
Yeah, you could do that if you want.
I'm sure it's got piston coolers and all that kind of stuff,
these Car VX reports are super, super important. And it's also like if you're buying from fly-by-night importers. Like sometimes you can get a really good deal if you know what you're looking for from going to some sketchy importer that's in like rural Texas. And there's actually a Facebook group that exists called "I Got Screwed by Shady Japanese Importers." And I sent you a link to that group.
I did pre-open this.
Yes, so that group is called literally "I Got Screwed by Shady Japanese Importers." It's 38,000 members, and it is
private.
It's private now, but it is literally just a list of people that have had horror stories. Like, yeah, man, I bought this Toyota Sarah, and they forgot to mention that the engine had blow by, and every time I started, I'm clearing all the mosquitoes out of my neighborhood. Like,
that's a lot of blow by. Holy
yeah,
Christ.
but like just like really bad problems that like people are having, or like, cool, I got this screaming deal on an R32 V-Spec 2, and then they're like, cool, all right, it arrived. It seems down on power, and they go to the model code and they decode it. This isn't a V-Spec 2. They stuck a V-Spec 2 body kit on it, and you lift it up to go make sure that it's got, the active limited slip differential or something. And then your jack falls through the floor because also they forgot to mention the fact that it's from the Ryukyu Islands and spent its entire life a block away from the ocean. Like,
also, it's actually a GTST.
yeah, it was a GTST that's been converted to look like a V-Spec. Like, then you're like, well, the difference between a GTST and V-Spec 2 R32 is $50,000.
Yeah, there's a very big difference in cars that look very similar.
Yes, it's a catastrophic difference. Or like even it can be this R32 has halogen headlights or reflector beam halogen headlights as opposed to projector beam halogen headlights. What's going on here? And then you look it up and go, oh, this was spec'd with projector halogen headlights.
Oh, so it's been crashed.
Yeah, you go, okay, well, what happened? Did somebody just crash it into a wall and put on the cheaper projector headlights? Because the halogen ones are actually for race cars and a weird backwards thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the normal ones had projectors. The race cars had the lighter reflector beams, and it was like a 9-pound difference.
Good god. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like a huge difference.
Man, those early projectors were some serious hunks of glass.
But if you ever see R32 with reflector beam, like a GTR with reflector beam headlights, those you had to option that.
Jesus.
They're called in-one headlights.
And I still don't want them.
Well, I would. Because they make the
fine.
car worth significantly more.
Well,
And they look
fine.
cooler. They do look cooler than
Yeah, but you also don't like the Aero Fox body or the 512 TR.
So this is where they look cooler. If you look closely on them, the projector headlights don't have the Skyline S.
Oh.
You know the cool S we all used to drive?
Yep.
Oh, we used to draw like in middle school?
Sure do.
The Skyline S logo is very, very similar to that. And on non-projector headlights, they have that S etched into the glass.
Like the actual face glass of the headlight?
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
It's extremely
All right,
cool.
that's cool.
That is much better than a projector, and that's why they're worth more.
Fine. Well, and lighter weight, I get it. Like,
But
if
like,
it's for
so like,
racing.
let's say like, okay, cool. Somebody just slapped some projector headlights on because they wanted to have better daily use.
Right.
That's different than, oh, this car was driven into a train, and the front end came off.
Oops.
Like, two totally different reasons to have modified headlights. So yeah, Car VX reports. Cheapest thing in the world. They're $25. I will guarantee you, if you are ever selling a Japanese vehicle, that you will get more than $25 in value out of this report.
100%.
Like, this is something where I cannot fathom why you would ever sell a Japanese car without these.
What? How long have these been around?
For longer than you've been able to import Skylines. This has been around for, like...
Why have I just only heard about it today?
Because most people don't talk about it, because a lot of people don't know it exists.
And
like,
is it done with the VIN or the number plate? Or
It is, yes, it is done with the chassis number.
Okay.
Which is different. They don't use 17-digit VINs in Japan, which is also a weird thing with Car VX reports. If two cars share a VIN, which does exist, it'll pull both of them.
Oh, that's nice.
So, for instance, at work, I had a seller that had a Nissan March. That VIN was shared with a Mitsuoka Vute.
It's not even like the same car.
It is, actually, because a Vute is based off a March. But they were different model years.
Oh my god.
But they had the same chassis code. And they repeated because the Vute came off the assembly line, went straight to Mitsuoka.
Okay.
And then they just went -1 for the assembly line number for the car because that one went straight to Mitsuoka and was not sold as a Nissan.
Oh my God.
So there's a Mitsuoka like KF4 1069.
At least that's a plausible reason.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. So yeah, CarVX, they are not expensive and they are so helpful. And even like if you're just trying to like, they will even give you free information on a lot of cars. So I'm gonna get you just.
So it's not like Carfax. You key it in. It's like 70 records found! Exclamation point.
Yeah, no. If you go to home real quick while you're doing that, I'm just gonna bring up a random, whatever Subaru Sandbar I can
Just
find.
gonna find a chassis number.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you a chassis number because if you enter a chassis number in there, they give you a lot of information for free, and it's really interesting.
I love that this is just a 3rd-gen Prius chilling on the front of this for some reason.
Yes, because it's used as normal car stuff in Japan. Like, this is just a normal thing in Japan that people buy. So here, I'm going to just pulling up a 1994 Subaru Sandbar DS 4-wheel drive, which is the one that has, like, the retro front end.
Oh, yeah.
So in here, type in KV4 dash 106316. And find your vehicle.
Searching our database. Please wait.
It didn't work for you. What the hell?
Is that still the same sample report?
There it is, right there.
Oh.
So they will give you for free. That's the engine.
Okay.
That's in it. So you see it's a 4-wheel drive classic. So you know it had the classic front end from the factory.
Oh, my God.
You can see that's part-time 4-wheel drive because they had part-time 4-wheel drive, full-time 4-wheel drive, and rear-wheel drive. So that's a lot of very good information.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And what's particularly useful on this, it's talking about engines on these and how cursed they can be.
Yeah.
That will give you the exact engine and exactly what variant it is. Because the EN7 made a lot more power than the EN07C. Because the EN07C was the carbureted version.
Oh, well, of course.
And that one made 40 horsepower. That one makes 50.
Oh, see? And when you're dealing with that, boy, that's a 20% difference.
Yes, you make 20% more power than you would with the carbureted one.
Stupid C.
Yeah, no, these are very helpful reports, even for free without purchasing it. So yeah, CarVX, that is the spot to go. It's literally carvx.jp. Yeah, .jp. You can Google it if you can't remember the actual URL, but this is like the most useful thing if you are looking up.
Now, I now wish we had an option like this in the States.
Yeah, I know, right? But
Carfax sucks. AutoCheck sucks.
Yeah, this is kind of why I'm like so gung ho on like my next car very likely being a K car, because I'm like I feel very safe buying these, and the infrastructure for daily driving a K car in 2023 is very different than the infrastructure daily driving a K car in 2019, because when I was considering buying one when I bought the Fiat, it didn't make as much sense because I couldn't easily find parts. I can now go and find a timing belt assembly for F6A on Amazon and have it delivered the same day from our Amazon warehouse.
That's the beauty of these things coming in mass.
So
there's
like,
going to be U.S. suppliers. That's stock.
Yeah, now you can actually find parts for them. So like now it's reasonable. Now I've got something like CarVX where now I can feel comfortable being like, yeah, I need to buy this thing. Like,
it seems like a good deal. Let's see what the problem is.
So yeah, there you go. CarVX. We'll end out on a high note on that.
Hell yeah, I like it.
See ya.
Bye, guys.